Thanks for sticking around with us. We truly appreciate it. And we are back again with the Cosmic Crossfire. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you sticking around and hanging out with us here. But it wouldn't be a Cosmic Crossfire without my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Rob McCallum Films. You got to check out all the great things going on today at robmccallumfilms.com that he has going on, all the movies that he has available that you can watch, and also all the great news on all the upcoming projects that he's working on, including Box Art, obviously the Kitty documentary, which just came out, which you can get right now on Amazon.com, and also a Kickstarter project coming out on April 24th. It's my good friend. It's Rob McCallum. What's going on, man?
Same old, more like you say, another day in paradise. But here we are in the snowy paradise of Canada. Happy to be back. The Cosmic Crossfire, Pop Culture Cosmos, Pop Culture Multiverse. It's a good day. It's a good time. It's been a good week or so for pop culture, and lots to talk about. I do want to give everybody a quick thank you that's been streaming Missing Mom on Amazon for the past 30 days or so. I've had at least one person reach out every single day to tell me what they thought about the film and said that they've rated it 5 stars. They really appreciate me sharing the story and the journey with them. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go to Amazon. If you got Amazon Prime, you can stream it for free. Give it a shot and rate it 5 stars. It helps other people discover it. And just looking forward to hearing other stories that people have and sharing, like you said, a new project with people on April 24th that should touch some heartstrings as well and really weave in some nice pop culture, I don't know, vernacular, if you will.
Well, I know we're talking about doing something live both at when the Kickstarter, kicks off, and then also when it, winds down. So we'll definitely be posting on the Pop Culture Cosmos and all the Rob McCallum Films outlets when this is going to be happening. You'll be able to talk live to Rob and Jay. We'll be able to coordinate something from there. But I also want to give a big thank you to everyone else that has been reading my review of Missing Mom on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. Since late March, it has skyrocketed as far as the number of views. So obviously that is attributed to it coming out on Amazon Prime and being available, and people wanting to get a better opinion on exactly what's going on with it and if it's something that they should watch. So I truly want to thank you as well in regards to Missing Mom. I think it's a great film, and I think absolutely, if you want some deeper thoughts, check out my column there as well.
That's good to hear that you get a little bit of the splash over onto your review. I like that. I like that a lot.
It just like skyrocketed. It's been there for a while, but all of a sudden, like you said, when it came to Amazon Prime, people are searching for an outlet to find to see if it, people are interested in it or if it's something that is worth watching, and they've been using that as a resource by leaps and bounds. So just truly appreciate everyone for doing so. But Rob, we're here to talk a lot today about pop culture. So pray tell, Rob, what's on your mind when it comes to pop culture?
Got 3 big things that I wanted to talk about today. First, let's jump into the world of trailers. There's been a lot of trailers that have come out in the last week or so, and I thought it was time that we did a trailer roundup. We usually do this every couple months.
Can I ask you something real quick? When it comes to your projects and whatnot, can you not name your final trailer as the final trailer? Because I'm getting sick and tired of, lately this has been happening because all of these films that are coming out in May and whatnot, they're saying it's the final trailer. And there's going to probably some edited form of a trailer coming as that movie comes out, whether it's for TV or whatnot. So technically it probably will not be the final trailer.
Yeah, it's as bad as those cliche shots that start every trailer with the drone going through the mountain peaks and you see the landscape. These are usually a teaser trailer, trailer 1, trailer 2, and then like the recut TV spot or the extended trailer or the red letter trailer, right? Like or the red band trailer. There's a lot of different trailers these days, and it isn't that much of a countdown as much as they say the final trailer, the last chance to see it before you see it.
Well, if you ever go back into feature filmmaking, please just avoid those tropes on the trailer. I don't care about the other.
The first trailer I put out when I do a feature narrative will be the final trailer.
the final trailer.
Yeah.
Well, actually, featuring 2 minutes of nothing but drones, just drone shots over any cityscape that you can choose. How about
with
that?
voiceover of ominous lines that really don't connect. That's the template.
In a world.
In a world. You did actually see the trailer for this Kickstarter project that is coming up on April 24th. Any thoughts that you can say without saying anything about it?
Well, exactly. Since I can't really say much about it, I will say this: it does start the process of informing everybody what it is all about. It is obviously something that's going to touch some heartstrings again, like Missing Mom. And I just am truly glad that we at Pop Culture Cosmos can do what we can to help you support such a great and noble project that you're undertaking with this upcoming project.
Well, we've been teasing for 3 weeks now about our next quest. People have been waiting 5 years for the next quest from Jay Bartlett and Rob McCallum, and you got a sneak peek of that. So, anything you want to throw out there about what that next quest is like? There's been a lot of different guesses about what people think this quest could be.
Well, I just hope it's going to be a great time for everyone. And I just hope that it actually is going to be something that people will cherish down the road for many years to come, like they have with Nintendo Quest. I just hope so. Let's put that
lots of hopes, lots of high hopes. Other news and trailers. I've targeted, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different trailers. I'm going to throw them out there and we can just kind of see what's what. No structure. First up is Dark Crimes. It's a procedural mystery starring Jim Carrey. Looks like it's been funded by DirecTV. Not to say it's low budget. It actually seems like a really in-depth psychological thriller. I'm on board for it. Incredibles 2, Jurassic World 2, Fallen Kingdom just had a new trailer drop recently. Deadpool 2 had a new trailer drop recently, and of course, the final trailer for Solo. What are your thoughts on any of these?
But it's also the final trailer for Deadpool 2 as well. Deadpool 2 as well. So, I mean, that's what really got me irritated was when I saw that recently, and I'm like, does everybody have to have a final trailer? But I will say the Deadpool 2 final trailer looks pretty good. I love his shots at both the Marvel and DC universe. It just goes without saying the fact that Ryan Reynolds seems to take his persona that he's built over the years and now gets to go crazy with it. It makes for a good time. Whether or not it runs its course, we'll have to wait and see. But I like the concept. It looks good. It looks funny. I've already chuckled a couple times watching the various trailers. And if it's anywhere near as humorous as the original, they're doing themselves a great favor. But I don't know if it's going to be as well structured as the first one because the first one got so much critical acclaim.
I just think it's really interesting that they're putting a lot of emphasis on Cable as the villain when he's definitely much more of an anti-hero. So we'll see like how much of a antagonistic force he actually ends up being. With something like Deadpool, you can't really take anything super serious. So I don't think it's going to be these global stakes on the line where Deadpool and his ragtag group of nobodies, some with or without superpowers, have to stop to save like the planet. I think it's going to be much more, oh, here's the guy that we're trying to stop this time. Like him or hate him. Some people like him. We don't like him, or whatever it is. I mean, it's all going to be in the approach and the execution and in the delivery. So it's hard to care about anything that you see because it's going to be cut down in the final the trailer. Like you can't really invest into anything except for the humor. So if the humor's not doing it for you, this is not the film for you.
And then also the change in directors because of the creative differences between Ryan Reynolds and I believe it's Tim Miller that happened, which necessitated a new director stepping in. So that's something that will be interesting to see and how much they can keep it as far as the style is close to what everybody seems to be familiar with and seems to be very receptive of. Obviously, seeing the box office receipts from the first movie as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea where it's going to go. I think it's going to have a massive opening weekend, but I don't think it's going to have the legs that say Black Panther has demonstrated or the staying power that Infinity War will have. I think this is going to do well, very much for the opening midnight screenings, the Thursday, the Friday, that first weekend, and probably have a modest, decent second weekend without too much of a drop. But I don't think it's
that because that third weekend though Solo comes out. They moved it up a week so they could have 2 weeks of a buffer before Solo comes out.
But they're still going to be competing with Avengers, so I think that it's going to be hard to. I don't know why they didn't try to release it, in January or something of the
or
like.
Push it back to July or something like that.
Something to give them really a lot more breathing room and really just take the landscape to themselves. I don't think you stand a good chance when you have a sequel that's based purely on comedy that people see coming this time. But wish the best to them. And as Ryan Reynolds tweeted, it's basically a 2-hour setup for Deadpool 3. So we'll see.
Of course, he already has that in mind, but that's good to see that he does have that still sarcasm and wit still about him. But even though, like I said, that it might play off too much off the original, it can't be that much worse than the original. Or if it does, then if it falls flat, that would be a shame. But from what I've seen so far, it looks like it's going to be something very, very worth watching.
What are your thoughts on the new Jurassic World 2 Fallen Kingdom trailer? You've been torn on the JP franchise, the Jurassic World franchise. I'm a big advocate, waving that banner.
You will not get off that soapbox. You will not.
No, I will not. I will preach for 65 million more years. What are your thoughts now that we've seen the final trailer for Jurassic World 2 Fallen Kingdom?
Well, I will say this, that it is very intriguing and what they want to do with it. They've already associated the bad guy as far as that was actually clearly pointed out in this final trailer, so to speak, for Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. And they're talking already about a Jurassic Park 3 already. I noticed that there are already interviews in regards to that and what they want to do and the shift that they want to take from Fallen Kingdom. So I don't know. It looks obviously it's going to do very well because the first one did amazingly well, over $1.5 billion. This one should do at least $1 billion as well. It looks good. It looks good. It looks very promising. It does have the horror element to it. Something that I know Steven Spielberg, I believe he's still exec producer on it.
Oh yeah.
And he has to have that touch. And obviously it's centering around Chris Pratt and obviously the dinosaur nicknamed Blue, so centering around that relationship and just see if that connects with the audience and see if they're going to make it worthwhile for us to want to stay with it throughout the whole 2 hours.
It reminds me a lot of Jurassic Park 2, in which the dinosaurs leave the island and come into society and all the trouble with those two worlds coming together. I'm guessing the opening scene of the film will be those shots we see with all those people surfing. We saw the megalodon or whatever, basically on the arc of the wave, which is a really cool visual, right? Like just to see that shadow there, that's super creepy. And that alone seems way more interesting than that shark movie that's coming out called The Meg, with Jason Statham. So kudos.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Kudos to them for basically using that dinosaur twice and having some really nice cinematic stuff. Because in the first Jurassic World, seeing the seats go down basically like underneath in the tank, like you could imagine at SeaWorld, and seeing the carnage of this thing, very cool idea. Very like something we hadn't seen before. So this is something I think of that same realm. I think this looks creepy and scary. And you know what? They're really playing it up as a monster movie for the first time. It's always had those elements of, scary things out there coming to get you, but now this is very much in the forefront. Here's the creature that's on the loose coming to get you. It's the most dangerous creature ever to exist. How will you survive? It's survival first and foremost, and we'll see if like you said, the relationships between characters, be it dinosaur and dude or dude and dudette, are enough to compel us all the way through that.
Let's hope that they are definitely trying to be with Blue as far as that's concerned. Hopefully that they will try and make it out so that there's a good relationship that connects to the audience and that Blue is definitely a clever girl.
I'm very excited still for Jurassic World Evolution, the console PC game that comes out early June as well, where you get to build your own Jurassic theme park. It's SimCity with dinosaurs. with disasters turned way on. Pretty pumped for it. So it should be a nice companion experience to the film when that comes out.
Definitely, I agree with you, and it definitely, and it will surely be a box office hit. To what extent will it match the original? We'll have to wait and see. But I think you can pretty much count on $1 billion at least at the box office.
I'm gonna say 850 million. I think because it is so scary, it's gonna ward off some of the kids in the family audience that may have went to see the first one. I think this is getting more and more niche. I'm saying 850 million. I think it's
wow. That would be almost a 50% drop. That would be, even though that's first world problems when it comes to the studio's concerned. How many movies do you have in your list that can actually generate that type of income? It still would be
this franchise. I think you only get 3 out of it before you've got to stop for a while, anyways.
Yeah, that's true. But if you only have 3, you better try to maximize your profit and your profit potential in them. And having a 50% drop, which is what you're speculating, it's not the greatest of things.
Well, the money will still go in the bank account, and a third one will still come out.
That's true. If it hits 850, it still will. But then you're concerned that will drop 50% as well.
I think the third one would do north of 550. So
wow.
all kind of said and told, you're looking at over $2.5 billion still for 3 films, which I think if you approached any studio about saying, hey, if you put out a trilogy, you know that you're going to clear $2.5 billion. Is that something you'd be interested in? They'd say, of course.
True, but the cost would be, yeah, that's true. It does outweigh the cost still, even at that price, even with the dramatic drops that you're speaking of at this point.
It's the end game. It's not the difference makers. It's the end game.
Fair enough. So, and what else you said with Endgame with Jim Carrey? Dark Crimes. I'm sorry. Dark Crimes with Jim Carrey. I did get a chance to see that last week. Kind of a different turn for him. And at this point in his career, he needs all the different turns he can get because of what he's doing outside of the movie realm. I kind of like it.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, he seems to be going out of his way to try and, I don't know. Just type in Jim Carrey.
He's taking on things that purely amuse him for him. He's not doing things because he needs to be the mega box office star. He doesn't need to be the funniest guy in the world. He is doing projects for him only, and he doesn't need to do anything anymore. He's going through a very interesting point in his life where he's just free from having any stress or pressures. And when you do that, then you can kind of choose to do whatever, and that's what he's doing right now is whatever. So more power to him if that's the case. I love it. I love seeing him just do whatever instead of the very typical like slapstick comedy type stuff or predictable roles starring him. I think it's good that he's taken breaks here and there, and that every time he's come back, it's always been a really interesting role to see him in, whether it's, I Love You, Philip Morris, or Lemony Snicket's Series of Unfortunate Events, or even Dark Crimes looks very, very interesting.
It does, and I think it is a chance for Jim Carrey to get back on the map in people's eyes as far as someone who can generate a high-quality film.
I don't know that it's going to put him back on the map. I just think it's almost along the lines of like the number 23, where it's a psychological kind of mystery that's going to have twists and turns. I think it's going to be a good role for him. I don't think it's going to be like, wow, look at his tour de force performance here. We got to get Jim Carrey in this, because I think that his approach to everything is going to weird off any kind of Hollywood company because they don't know how to deal with them.
That's always been the case now for over 20 years, ever since even Man on the Moon, and even before that as well.
And I just think, he's doing his own thing, and he doesn't need to be back on the map. He doesn't want to be back on the map. And that's why he's doing stuff like Dark Crimes, because it's a reflection of where he is personally. He's trying to figure out his own psychological underpinnings. And that's kind of what this movie seems to be about as well.
Well, that's true. It definitely looks like something that it could be worth watching as far as if people are into those psychological thrillers, and definitely something that it's not a straight to video or not straight to streaming. It's actually going to come out in theaters, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Right. Like I said, it seems to be that DirecTV was a major financing partner behind it. It'll obviously probably be a DirecTV exclusive when it gets to the to the home markets. But yeah, I believe it is coming out theatrically, even if it's just a short run, probably like an August release, I think.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Incredibles 2. What did you think about that?
Incredibles 2 definitely looks solid, although I know there's a bit of pushback that it is very similar to the original, except for everything's just, the places are just switched around between mom and dad. But you know what? That is life in 2018, and I think they're just trying to correlate that in what they're talking about. Incredibles 2 should have come out quite a spell ago. I think that's an oversight on Pixar's part. But
it takes like 4 to 5 years to make these films.
But
when
I
you have the right idea. You've got to get that right idea first. And Pixar at first was never, ever a sequel studio, save Toy Story.
Well, this movie definitely warranted a sequel. It is my favorite Pixar film. And
really?
Definitely something that should have had a sequel a long time ago. It's truly is a great film and something that I enjoy with my kids time and time again.
Wow. I don't think that we can just sit back and say that Pixar is doing nothing but doing a role reversal. I think that's
I'm just telling you what some of the feedback
I get it. I get it. I mean, I see the trailers. I get what's going on and stuff, and I can understand why people would say that. But if you know anything about Pixar, they're going to do that twist and that turn, or they're going to get to the end of that story quicker than you think so that the real story can begin. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be as predictable as that. And if it was, then that would be very disappointing.
Well, as someone who knows someone who at Pixar, that probably is the case. And building quality stories is their first and foremost concern. And telling those stories and communicating that to the world, along with the themes that they want to represent, is something that obviously is a priority to them as well. And kudos to them for it.
All right. Here's another sequel kind of tidbit. Not really a sequel, to be honest. It's kind of like a spin-off. There's been a lot of talk recently about the King of Kong and Billy Mitchell. Are you up on all of this, Gerald?
Unfortunately, I'm almost as up on it as Billy Mitchell is at this point in time, because things are not going so well for the King of Kong, or at least the King of Kong, as he would tell you.
Yeah, he's still standing by that he is the KOK, however you want to pronounce that. And there's been a lot of stuff coming out, whether he is the record holder or not the record holder. He's been stripped by Guinness and Twin Galaxies at this point. And of course, King of Kong showcases the likely efforts of Steve Wiebe to try to become the new King of Kong, or to have the highest point game in Donkey Kong. And Billy Mitchell seems to be there seemingly at every turn. Well, now, with everything back in the news, with Billy Mitchell being deemed a cheater by a lot of people and a fraud, there is talk of a King of Kong musical and a King of Kong sitcom possibly coming out. The sitcom would sit in the world of arcade competitive gamers, and the musical obviously would just be more of a straight adaptation to the stage of the documentary, which was directed by Seth Gordon, who did Horrible Bosses and a few other films of the like. What do you think of these two ideas?
When I first became
King of Kong.
I can deal with the theatrical play. I cannot deal with a sitcom.
From chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
That's just a horrid idea as far as doing it as a sitcom. It just basically it would fall flat, and I see something like that. Even
what if it was done like Silicon Valley, like that kind of tone to it?
I just don't think it would work. I just do not think it will work. I don't have the trust. There's no trust factor when it comes to, let's say, a Hollywood, a Netflix, or anybody else who tries to approach this. There's a trust factor I don't have with when it comes to a video game property or anything relating to a video game property at this point in time. But as a theatrical release, as far as in the theater, being on something off Broadway or whatnot, I could see something done like that could, in a quirky way, reach audiences and connect with them that maybe only the documentary could as well.
I think the stage play, I don't know. That's a bit too far for me. I think a sitcom could be done right only because I have a toe dipped in that world thanks to everything from Nintendo Quest, and I see the drama that goes on all the time, and I see the back and forth shenanigans, and it's just rife with with drama, like in storyline. So I could see it coming together very well, actually, and
But
I
that's
think it would be
that's
highly entertaining. But it wouldn't be about like the games. It would be about the personalities, like any good sitcom is, right? So take away the fact that video games is involved. It's really about the people in the mixing of personalities.
But those are the same reasons for me, which I would see it work better as a theatrical play.
Nah,
Or
these are
musical.
characters you got to come back to week after week because they're just too interesting to forget about after one night of singing and stomping on the stage.
Well, I will close it out with this then. What are your thoughts on Billy Mitchell's current situation and the fact that he did get all of his record scores pulled from Twin Galaxies and the actual officialness of it, and his determination in proving himself innocent in regards to those high scores?
Gerald, you can't ask me that question. I have this kind of film that I've made. Anything I said is to be made by the theater to my movies. You can't trust anything I say at this point. There's no journalistic integrity. I can't throw on the bus because then I'm throwing myself under the bus for putting him in my film, and I can't put him on a pedestal because it's like self-promotion. I can't have an opinion on this.
Well, then I will have an opinion for you on that, and that just hope it works out. And if he's able to prove his innocence on whatever type of unit that he actually did try to get those records on, probably the best way to do it is, hey, train for a couple months, hardcore, and get back into it, and then go ahead. You know what? Do a live performance, do a live stream, prove to everybody that those records that you had were legit on whatever, platform that you actually did it on, and go ahead and prove to the world that you are as good as you say you are, because he definitely talks a great game.
There's a lot of talk, that is for sure. He is a eloquent speaker. He doesn't have a shortage on opinions, and he will tell you everything he believes. And he wants his day in court, so to speak. And we'll find out if he gets it. But I officially really don't care, first of all, if he did it or not. And, if everybody else wants to get intertwined in that drama, well, then go ahead, and that just gives more fodder for any potential sitcom that may be written.
Or a theatrical play. Or music.
A theatrical play. There you go. I have one last topic. It's pretty quick and simple. It's more just what you think. And this is observations from MIP TV, which is a global TV and digital TV conference. They did a keynote wrap up. This was a couple weeks ago. There are two big festivals where distributors go to basically sell content to broadcasters alike around the world. There's one in April and there's one in October. My distributor always goes there, which is why I've been able to get Nintendo Quest and my other films out like I have. And the keynote wrap-up talked about this. The big trends in TV currently are anxiety, depression, and authenticity. What do you think about that?
I think that's good that they're trying to approach those subjects. Obviously,
no, it's not that they're trying to approach them. These are the big trends that people have noticed.
Oh, that they're buying into, or that they're trying to sell, and that they're trying to pitch.
The films and series that have these topics are going over well.
Well, that's something that that's tough to say, because now that you've elaborated more carefully on it. Obviously, the success of 13 Reasons Why,
which is the first show that came to my mind too,
which has been extremely polarizing. Just ask Josh Peterson, our fellow host, when it comes to this show. That 13 Reasons.
Congratulations, Why. He sucks.
Yes, well, that book is coming out soon, so definitely that's a lot from the heart there. But also, if you get a chance, read his inner thoughts on his battles with various emotions, depressions, and whatnot on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, because he has a blog he updates every 2-3 weeks as far as what's going on with him and the inner battles that he's going through on a regular basis. And definitely when it comes to things like that, that has been a touchy subject in the past, but with 13 Reasons Why and other forms of medium that have touched on the subject of recent note, that it definitely something that is now in forefront of people's minds. Obviously, Hellblades: As Soon as Sacrifice, that has done really well, and obviously that has done a lot positively to bring those type of issues to light. 13 Reasons Why is very polarizing for various reasons within that realm, and it definitely looks like something that, because of the success of that show, that a lot of people are now trying to go ahead and cash in on it, for better or for worse. Now, if it does lead to a lot of projects that are presented that show it in a positive light, the struggles that we need to go ahead and address, and the help that people need in order to try and combat this, that's awesome. But if it does glorify it and does bring down and make fun, or just really just puts everything like that, those battles in a bad light, then obviously it's not for the better. But definitely that can happen when you, like you said, with all those projects being discussed.
The other big observation that came out of the keynote was mobile as a medium, like your mobile phone or your tablet. That role has not been quite decided yet and not fully understood. The keynote went on to say it's not quite web, which is fully interactive, and not quite TV, which is lean back and watch through a window. So I thought I'd ask you, as we kind of close out, what are your thoughts on the role of mobile? Because it's something we have on the go, but it's not quite something where we need to be fully interactive, but it's stuff where we can actually interact with and watch. It's that weird middle space.
As the technology gets more advanced with the mobile market, it's definitely going to become a bigger priority in our lives, and obviously something a lot of more people and a lot more entities will want to address. I mean, look at the success of Fortnite and PUBG, and what did they wanted to go ahead and do? What was one of the first things that they did once they achieved that success on the PC realm and on console markets? They went straight ahead right into the mobile market, built two great games for it, and are now doing bang up jobs as far as going ahead and being a massive success on the Android and Apple platforms. So,
but does this mean that mobile is just going to be a platform for other content that might work? So if a film or a series works well, then it should be on a mobile kind of strictly only app, or a game for that matter? Or is it like, is mobile relegated to basically second class platform as just another destination, or is there kinds of content that should be mobile first and everything else second? I mean, I think of stuff like Pokemon Go, but then I kind of lump that into gaming and such. So,
well, we've seen the first film that was released by Steven Soderbergh that was entirely shot off of an iPhone. Now, the results that came out of it were kind of mixed, but that is a starting point for other filmmakers and other projects such as that, and even more to develop networks, maybe just straight for mobile. There's going to be a concentration of mobile, and there's going to be a bigger emphasis on mobile, because there is so much out there when it comes to the mobile market, and the mobile market has now become so dominant. I know I discussed it in a recent episode with Josh as far as his concerns for console makers and the console market going, belly up, because the fact that this younger generation is so focused on mobile entities and mobile properties. So if you're going to have a generation growing up that's basically fixated on mobile properties, tablets, phones, what have you, then you're going to need a lot of mediums, or you're going to see a lot of mediums actually focusing a lot more attention on it going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole topic for another show, the next generation and their preferences versus the current guard and so on and so forth. But I do think it's interesting that even like the broadcasters and distributors of the world that basically, share and trade content like hockey cards still don't know what to do with the platform, maybe compared to their gaming brethren, and how they figured out the free to play model and that kind of stuff. So just food for thought. Thought I would share since it's part of the space that I'm in. But that does it for another episode of the Cosmic Crossfire with yours truly.
If you have any questions for Rob on whatever we've talked about, or you have a great subject for us to talk about as well, send us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, Game Source, and Rob McCallum Films on Facebook, and also on Twitter. But you can reach Rob as well at Rob McZob. And don't forget, again, he's got a great Kickstarter project coming on April 24th. You know, Rob, I know you're excited about this great project you and Jay Bartlett are going to be kicking off real soon.
Very excited. I'm riddled with anxiety about it because if it goes, then it's going to be the next couple of years of my life. And if not, then I got to figure out what's going to happen for the next couple of years of my life. So it's a lot will happen in the next 30 days that'll have prolonging effects.
Well, I wish you nothing but the best of success.
I hope it does well.
I hope it does well indeed. And anything we can do to help you with that hope here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, definitely just ask it. And we're definitely hoping for you as well.
Very hopeful.
Very hopeful indeed. Rob, as always, it's been a great pleasure having you on, and also a great pleasure having you a part of the Pop Culture Cosmos.